Hello, and welcome to another edition of Exclusive Interview, coming to you from the studios of 84 TV Radio Abuja, Nigeria. My name is Stanley Bentu. What do you think about when you hear the words atomic or nuclear? Well, if you are like me, what you think about is sorrow, blood, sweat, tears, and suffering. That's because the first time I heard those words, it was in connection to the 1945 bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. And this was what led to the deaths of over 100,000 people. But is there another story to nuclear power or nuclear energy? Is there a positive side to these two words? That's what we'll be talking about on today's episode. But first, let's have a look at this report.
Nigeria has a population of roughly 200 million people, but the average annual electricity consumption for residents is only 150 kilowatts per hour. That is less than what it takes to run a refrigerator in the United States. There are shortages in generation, transmission, and distribution systems. While total installed generating capacity in Nigeria stands at between 10 to 13 gigawatts, average operating capacity is only about 6 gigawatts or less. In Nigeria, the problem is poorly performing hydro plants and interruptions in the gas supply. Some experts believe nuclear could be beneficial here. However, to increase their odds of success in Nigeria, it might be advantageous to package a nuclear power project with investment in the transmission and distribution network. This could help ensure that the newly generated electricity is actually making it to paying customers. Today on Exclusive Interview, we speak to Dr. Ibrahim Viva Yakubu, a nuclear physicist, currently the head of Nuclear Science and Technology Session, Center for Energy, Research and Training, ABU Zaria, and a Nigerian representative to the International Atomic Energy Nuclear Security Guidance Committee, NGSC.
Welcome back to Exclusive Interview. I'm now joined in the studio by nuclear physicist and associate professor at the Ahmadu Bello University, Dr. Yakubu Viva Ibrahim. Doctor, it's a pleasure to have you on the program.
My pleasure, sir.
All right. Well, a very interesting topic that we have this morning. It's something that a lot of Nigerians are not very conscious of, or they don't feel is a big part of their lives, but it happens to be the basis of your career. How does atomic energy work?
Well, I think it's important to know what atomic energy is before you go into understanding how it works. Atomic energy is energy from nuclear reaction or a source. So nuclear reaction can be classified into two. The one that you split the atom into some fragments, and the one that you use to bring the smaller atoms together to produce energy. How do we generate electricity from nuclear energy?
That's fusion and fission, right?
Yes, fusion and fission. But currently what is being utilized around the world is fission reaction. And fission means you split uranium atom, which is called the fuel, into some fission fragments. In doing that, you generate heat, and that heat is used to produce steam that turns what we call the turbines. And from the once you produce turbine, once you turn a turbine, you produce electricity. So that's electricity that goes to the grid from nuclear power generation.
Wow, very interesting. So what exactly is nuclear security, and in what ways is it relevant to Nigeria?
Yeah, many countries now have understood the use of nuclear technology, especially in power generation. We are talking about environmentally friendly technologies of getting nuclear energy or getting electricity. So nuclear is one of them. And people really need to understand that should not fear the issue of nuclear technology. Nuclear power has been used for over 60 years around the world, and the probability of terrorism on nuclear power plants is very, very low. So it's very, very important that people understand that nuclear energy is safe and is also environmentally friendly.
You would struggle to convince some people about that, because we've heard about nuclear energy for war and nuclear energy for peace purposes. What is the difference between the two?
Yeah, I think let me just go back to the issue of security you talked about. So, of course, you'll be concerned about security because nuclear is a high risk facility. So as many countries embark on it, security is a top priority. And of course, you have to now ensure, convince the public that nuclear is safe from terrorist attack. So much effort has been put about that. And to the person on the street, that I can say that nuclear is safe. Nigeria has had a research reactor since 2004 that it went critical. I'm one of the operators at my facility where I work, and we have operated that successfully. Every year we have the International Atomic Energy coming to visit our facility to look at our compliance vis-a-vis their set regulations. So nuclear is a global product, so it is not just left for one country to play around with it. So every country is involved. There's this slogan in the nuclear industry that a nuclear accident in Nigeria is a nuclear accident in the United States. So all hands are put on deck globally to ensure that nuclear is safe. So Nigeria is not an exception. We have good ethical conduct in the operations of the research reactor we have at my facility. So I think
you mentioned that nuclear energy is free for the world to research into. So why do we keep hearing these stories about countries like the United States, trying to regulate and deciding that certain countries should not have nuclear weapons, for instance?
Yeah, nuclear weapon is a weapon of mass destruction. As a nuclear physicist, when I went through the facilities in the United States, where they showed me the two bombs that were dropped in Japan. They called one little boy, and the other one is a fat man.
The fat man.
I almost shed tears because of its devastation. It killed thousands of people within few seconds. So I think as Nigeria is a party to the non-proliferation, I think global leaders have understood that if we allow many more countries to come on board with nuclear weapons, we can destroy the world within maybe hours. So I think this global effort in trying to reduce the proliferation of weapons and in trying to make sure weapons are not applied for war purposes, but instead for peaceful application, I think is the way to go forward.
And one of the things we keep hearing is, enriched uranium. So how do you, what are the components that would indicate or be a red flag to someone that nuclear energy is starting to be used or developed for purposes of aggression?
Yeah, there are a lot of indicators. Enriched uranium is a uranium that you obtain from natural uranium. There are two components of uranium. We have the U-238, which occurs naturally, and in it we have some small fraction of U-235. So when you now concentrate that U-235 to more than 20%, that is the weapons grade. So when you now, enrichment is when you now move it from its natural occurrence, even by a fraction, through human activity, we call it enrichment. That's an enrichment process. So enriched uranium is the uranium you use for nuclear weapons, and many more countries have joined the IAEA Non-Proliferation Treaty to ensure that enrichment does not occur. Enrichment, like you said, it's it's a process of concentrating that uranium, and it's the most dangerous aspect of nuclear technology. One way to understand that a country is embarking on nuclear technology is some of the vital components that are used for enrichment are in the global market. So from there is an indicator that you have an intention of enriching uranium based on some of the facilities and some of the research you undergo in your laboratory. You know, they peer review you, they visit your laboratories, they conduct international inspections. So they look at all the activities that you do, and that will give them an indicator that you are into uranium enrichment, which is basically, in most cases, not used for peaceful purposes. But there are recognized organizations or institutions that enrich uranium. And those recognized institutions follow what we call the global standard. They declare the natural uranium that comes to them, and even the concentration of the natural uranium that comes to them. They declare that, and when they enrich, they declare that. They also declare that. In the process of enrichment, some of them might go stuck in their equipment. So you also account for that. So for those organizations that are allowed to enrich uranium, there's proper mechanism in place for accountability from the mining and also to when it becomes an enriched uranium. So the reactor in my facility is an enriched uranium. Now is about 13%, U-235. So
13% enriched.
Yes, 13%.
So, but it's not enriched enough to deploy.
Yeah, we had
as a weapon.
We had 90% enrichment before now. So we had to convert that, one, because of the treaty Nigeria supports globally, and also in the near future we will not be privy to have those kind of fuels in the market again. There is a global agreement by the market fuel vendors that they won't be able to sell enriched uranium to any country. So if we had not gone ahead to convert, in the near future we may not be able to use our reactor effectively.
Absolutely. But energy is essential for development, nearly every aspect of development, whether it's healthcare or construction and all that. So what contribution can nuclear energy make to contribute to a security of energy supply in Nigeria, since we're trying to use our nuclear for peaceful purposes?
I think Nigeria is one of the energy-starved countries. And in my mind, paying attention to nuclear programs leading to energy security is very, very important. Nuclear gives you high-density electricity for industrialization. China realized that. Currently, they are building about 20 nuclear power plants for industrialization. The UAE, Dubai, realized that they cannot sustain the kind of city they have without high-density electricity. Currently now, Dubai has built 4 nuclear power plants. And looking at Nigerian population with energy, energy gives you the security. Talking about our welders on the street, talking about people that sell food, talking about our homes. We all need energy energy is all around us. And without energy, we cannot be able to do anything. I came to the studio because there is energy from the sun. So also energy contributes to our economy. So the way forward for Nigeria is to embark on nuclear power program to have the needed high-density electricity to power our industries. Hydro is not reliable because it's a seasonal issue. You see, if now there's no rainfall, it is popularly believed ever since I was growing that once rainfall ceases, the volume of water decreases and the megawatts on our grids continues to decrease.
Yeah, it's the same old story. During the dry season, they tell you we can't have power because water supply is depleted.
Yeah, it's seasonal.
During the rainy season, they'll tell you there's a shortage of gas.
That's
so right. It's one challenge or the other. But you are saying that nuclear can bridge this gap.
Yeah, bridge the gap of gas supply because you have thermal powers. When there is a pipeline vandalism, you are cut off from your thermal power. And when there is no rainfall, you are cut off from the high volume of electricity you get from hydro. So nuclear, of course, I just told you that the probability of it being hit by terrorism is very, very remote because of the security that is involved. And I've told you about how security is very, very important in the nuclear industry. So it's a highly safe industry, different from what people think. Security is a priority, is a global thing. So I think having nuclear in our energy mix is very, very important to be able to support agriculture, to support healthcare services, to support research and development. It's very, very essential.
Now that could sound very exciting, except for my next question. Many people feel a bit worried when they hear that Nigeria is dabbling into nuclear energy. How safe is it in a society like ours that is notorious for poor maintenance?
Yeah, I'm a nuclear scientist. I operate a nuclear reactor. And like I told you, we have one operating research reactor in Nigeria. And it has a very global safety standard. So, like I mentioned, we have IA inspectors coming every year to inspect our operations. And I think we have operated that research reactor for over 14 years. And the difference between a research reactor and a power reactor is in a research reactor, you are looking for neutrons, for non-destructive applications. And for power reactors, you are interested in the heat. When you split uranium, like I first mentioned, you are interested in the heat. You harness that heat to generate electricity through steam that goes to heat turbines, and turbines are being rotated and electricity is produced.
So you were saying nuclear is safe?
Yeah, well, nuclear is safe.
Environmental impact?
Yes.
What about that?
Yeah, environmental impact, nuclear is green. Carbon emission is 0. So I think environmentally nuclear is green. Is one of the future energies of the world. Recently they are coming up with modular reactors. And I also told you the issue of terrorist attacks. So these are evidences that make nuclear power very, very safe. Is a global venture, not particular to just one country. Take example, for instance, the Fukushima Daiichi accident. No single person died of radiation. No single person, but many more people died of the tsunami. Look at the air industry. A lot of people die from the air industry. Look at our roads. Many people die of road accidents. So nuclear compared to other economic activities of life is very, very safe.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll leave it there for now. We'll take a break, but don't go away, because when we come back, we'll be talking about a human element of security for the only operating research reactor in Nigeria. That was designed by my guest, and we're going to talk about that shortly. We'll be right back.
Virtually, as you can see, and as we all know, Nigerians are not prepared for anything at all, because nothing is even, there's no foundation for anything. So how do we start preparation? I don't think our government don't even have any reasoning towards that even. And even if there is another reasoning coming in, they won't accept it because they don't even like anything good.
Personally, I do not think that Nigeria is ready for nuclear energy, because nuclear energy is the energy that is derived from the nucleus of a radioactive element like thorium, uranium, and all those elements. And just some years back, the Ministry of Science and Technology in Nigeria, the minister told us that what Nigeria is capable of producing is a pencil. So can you imagine Nigeria producing only pencil of all the things in the world? Look at other countries in the world, the China, the Americans, they produce a lot of things. But Nigeria is yet to even produce the pencil that they pledge. Talk more of a nuclear energy. With the way things are going, if the right minister is being put in the right position, maybe as the Minister for Science and Technology, maybe he could.
There's nothing Nigeria is not ready for. It's just that it's the seriousness and the will to do it. But for now, in all honesty, Nigeria is not ready for nuclear energy. We haven't even explored the solar opportunity that we have in abundance. See the sun just hitting us anyhow. Few people are using it in their houses. The government knows, people know, but we are not using it. Those that even want to do it, it's very expensive. With the sun that we have, the sunlight that we have, especially in Maiduguri, you can use it and power a lot of places. And we are wasting energy and depending on oil all the time. It's just unfortunate. But I don't think Nigeria is ready for nuclear energy.
Welcome back to Exclusive Interview. I'm still in the studio with Dr. Yakubu Viva Ibrahim, who's a nuclear physicist, and we've been talking about Nigeria's advancement in that, which is, it sounds a bit strange to say, considering that a lot of Nigerians have a negative image of their own country. Unfortunate situation there, but we have done a lot, and it's very exciting to hear everything that you have said. Now, you designed the human element of security for the only operating research reactor in Nigeria, and that is to mitigate against insider threat. You have to tell me about the significance of that to Nigeria's security.
Well, I think who is an insider? First, it's very, very important to know who an insider is. An insider is somebody who has access, authority in a facility. So in the nuclear industry, we believe that something could go wrong. We believe that somebody somehow could sabotage our facility. So to be able to eliminate that threat, we had to design that program so that people don't take advantage of that facility. Yeah.
So how does that work?
Yeah, how we do it is that we have two aspects of human element to security. We have what you call the pre-employment stage, where we check, check some basic information about you, like your education, your financial status, and of course your criminal record. You try to look at that, and that will help you to give you an information about the kind of reliability of people that you are looking at for to work in a critical facility. So we call that one pre-employment checks. So when you are on the job, it's not a one thing off. When you are on the job, we also have some programs put in place on the job. So in all of our organizations, is it military operations, whatever operations that we do, an insider is always there. People
so how do we insulate our system, our nuclear systems from that? Because it's a perennial problem that we have in Nigeria, where we have either senators or people in the executive, ministers. We have this culture where people go and say, oh, my son does not have work, we need you to help. Oh, I want to get into this program, and then there's always a minister's list or senator's list or member of House of Representatives list. And we don't want a sensitive facility like this to have any sort of compromise of that nature, with people being pushed into that system that don't belong there.
Yeah, in designing human element of security, you also look at the culture of the people, because culture impacts security to a large extent. And this is a cultural problem when you relate it to high security facilities. So it doesn't compromise our standards based on the new dispensation, having designed the human element of security for the facility. Of course, it could be the senator that could be attacked using those kind of high-risk materials. So when you designing that, I think it's very, very vital. And we don't have that in nuclear industry. It's one confidence that we have built in the society, that we have a robust program that can make the nuclear industry operate efficiently. So coming back to our society, of course, if you just use ministers' list to employ people in the security agencies, I don't think it's a good practice, because somehow you'll be compromised in everything you do relating to security. So I think the other agencies can borrow a leaf from the nuclear organization, because we have a lot of security programs that can help our military, it can help our police, it can help our security service agencies, because nuclear is a critical facility and you have to safeguard it. In their own case, they have armories, they have operational information that you need to safeguard. Take for instance, during the Boko Haram fight in Borno State, the military talk about fifth columnists. We call it in the nuclear industry insiders. They have access to information, and because you plan your operations, they can release it to your enemy. So these are some of the ways that they can gain from the robust human element of security that we have designed at our facility. And we can extend it to military operations where they protect information. We can extend it to military armory, because, well, I have no evidence to this, but there's a hearsay that most of the guns that is being used by criminals in our society are AK-47. And AK-47 largely belongs to the government. So how do they get AK-47 around? Somebody must be there to smuggle that out. So it's not an easy thing to take inventory from time to time. So in the nuclear industry, for instance, comparing that to nuclear material, we take inventory of our nuclear material at a very, very alarming frequency, so that you account for every nuclear material. There was a case of smuggling that took place in Russia, where people took nuclear material in batches of 200 grams. And he accumulated it from 200 grams up to about 1.5 kilograms. And he was caught on, in the process of selling it. And what happened? He was taking it in bits. If you have 1 million guns or 2,000 guns packed somewhere, if I pick one, you won't be able to notice it easily. So these are some of the security measures they can borrow from the nuclear industry. We account for our nuclear materials. So also they need to account for their armories. Yeah.
Well, outside of electricity, what other benefits can we derive from nuclear power, nuclear energy?
Yeah, I think currently with the current pandemic in Nigeria, the nuclear energy has played a significant role on the spot detection of coronavirus. So it's one application in health. We have a lot of radiotherapy facilities in the treatment of cancer in Nigeria. It's another application in health. We also apply to be able to study diseases and also to combat diseases and bring about efficient drugs. You know, most of these diseases are zoonotic diseases from animals to human, and it has been established that corona is a zoonotic disease. So nuclear technique has been deployed to be able to screen people of coronavirus. Another thing is even the kits that you use in the market. I mean the I don't know what you call it.
The personal protective.
Yeah, the personal protective equipment we use. They sterilize them using nuclear technique. They send them to gamma irradiator that ensures that all viruses and bacteria are killed. And so doing, you can be able to use it. You sterilize your syringes that is used for injection in the hospital. So I think largely where we have not applied nuclear technology in Nigeria is in the area of agriculture. We import a lot of food. So I'm really surprised that we have not taken advantage of that in this country. Nuclear technique can contribute to food security in Nigeria significantly. The Indonesians have taken advantage of that. In Taiwan, they have taken advantage of that. They use nuclear technique in producing drought-resistant variety of crops. They use nuclear technique in trying to identify the best fertilizer that could be used for a particular crop. And also in animal production, they try to study the feed animals take. So in so doing, they will be able to advise on the best feed for a particular animal. So there are so many areas of applications of nuclear technology, but the most pressing need now in Nigeria, aside from nuclear power generation, is in the area of agriculture, where we can improve our animal production, we can improve crop production, especially the Fulanis moving around with animals that cannot produce significant quantity of milk in a day. So we can improve that.
All right. Well, my final question to you would be, you are the world's first graduate of the World Institute of Nuclear Security. That's WINS. Tell us more about that.
WINS is established because, like I said at the very beginning, that many countries are trying to deploy nuclear technology either for peaceful applications in agriculture, in animal production, even in oil and gas. We largely use nuclear technique in producing oil. Without nuclear technique, we cannot have 2,000 barrels or 2,000 barrels or 2 million barrels in a day. It's not possible. So nuclear technique is very, very important, and so it's because of that they now came about World Institute of Nuclear Security to be able to ensure that the applications, whether in agriculture, oil and gas, or nuclear power, it's very, very safe and secure. So WINS is very, very is largely funded by the United States. and many donor countries. So I'm the first world graduate, and subsequently, as it is now, Nigeria is topping the list of graduates at the institute. So how does it impact our community? It impacts our community in the area where we see peaceful application of nuclear technology in safe and secure manner. I've told you a lot of sources, nuclear materials being used in the Niger Delta for oil prospecting. So because of the security measures that are put in place, terrorists cannot have access to those kind of materials. So developing competency and skills in trying to secure those materials, I think, is a positive thing that can impact positively on our society.
Well, congratulations. I'm very proud to hear that the world's first graduate of WINS is a Nigerian, and that Nigeria is currently topping the list. And we certainly wish you the very best in your future endeavors. Thank you so much, Doctor, for taking the time to come here and speak to us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My pleasure. Yeah.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. A very educative session there with Dr. Ibrahim. I feel very proud as a Nigerian that we're taking major steps towards becoming a leader in nuclear technology. And we should believe in ourselves. And it's not about going to war. It is about bridging our electricity gap. Experts say that Nigeria needs at least 40,000 gigawatts of electricity in order to feed our electricity needs. We only manage to generate less than 10,000 and can evacuate less than 5,000. So steps must be taken, and we need to be bold enough to do that. But being bold enough is not enough. We also have to look at how we can manage our facilities and improve on our maintenance culture. Well, that's it for this edition of Exclusive Interview. Until we come your way again next time, thank you for stopping by.